Hey guys, welcome back to Boxing with Steph, where we talk through the latest of what's been going on this week in the world of boxing. This is your boxing rundown, and I really do look forward to making this video because on TikTok and on Instagram, Boxing with Steph, I literally put out a 50-second clip and it's about one topic, really quick, really snappy. But here we get to talk about more than one thing. It's a new month, so there's fights that are approaching, and I'm very much looking forward to October the 11th. Jerome Boots Ennis is moving up, and he is fighting Lima. He did actually announce that the WBA interim title and the IBO title is also on the line, which makes it super exciting because that means that there's more at stake with this fight. As you guys know, I mentioned it in my last video, but I absolutely love his updates and him showing us his journey in camp and what he's getting up to. And personally, I do think that Boots likes to get better with each fight for himself. It doesn't matter who his opponent is. He generally is like on a mission to just improve and become the best that he can be with each and every fight. So I'm excited to see him back in the ring on October the 11th and what he's got to bring. I did find it interesting that Eddie Hearn did say that he believes that Boots is pound for pound number one, not in 5 years, not in 10 years, but like now. And I think when you make a statement like that, you do have to go against the best to really prove who is the best. So that's why there is talks of him fighting Virgil Ortiz Jr. for early 2026. And I do believe that there will be more names thrown into the mix with Boots, and bring them on, roll them out. Let's see it, because I would love to see Boots have like those big fights and go against like different caliber of names, like those well-known big names, and have those bigger fights. And I do get it, like right now for him, his focus is probably becoming a two-weight world champion, and maybe even three. But throwing those big names, go against the best. Let's see Boots go against a really big name. So that's why I really do hope that this fight with Virgil Ortiz does materialize and it's not just all talks, because there's been talks about it and speculations about it for like a while now. So let's make it happen. Early 2026, bring it on. And then we've got 3 fights taking place October the 25th. Listen, us boxing fans were in for a treat and we're being spoiled. I absolutely love when there are like back-to-back fights to look forward to. It's my favorite thing. And on October the 25th, we've got Joseph Parker who's going head-to-head with Fabio Wardley. Then you've got TKV and Fraser Clarke going head-to-head. And then you've got Fundura going against Thurman. Now, let's go to the top. Joseph Parker against Fabio Wardley. Many people do believe that Joseph Parker deserves that title shot, that undisputed title shot against Usyk, and rightly so. He's coming off really nice wins. I mean, he's won against Martin Bakole in his last fight, and then before that, it was Wilder, and I know it was supposed to be Daniel Dubois, but Daniel Dubois got sick. So he's going against a younger heavyweight, but one that's known for being a real heavy hitter. So this is what makes it really exciting, is the fact that you've got Joseph Parker, who is experienced and he's been in the ring with some of the great heavyweights, and then you've got another who is coming up for some really nice wins, and he's also known as a heavy hitter. So that will make it really exciting. And then you've got the freakishly tall but the unified champion Fundura going against Thurman. And again, it's very similar. Like Thurman, he's been in the ring with some of the greats. He's been in with Danny Garcia, Sean Porter, Manny Pacquiao, and that's his only loss on his record. But he's been really inactive. Like Fundura has been much more active than he has. He's had one fight this year, and then his last fight before that was in 2022. So he's not really been as active, but we're going to see. Again, it's like you have one boxer who has been active, unified champion, and you can say and you can argue one of the best in the division right now in Fundura. And then you have another boxer who has been in there with experienced seasoned fighters, with champions. So this will be really exciting. I can't wait to see them like collide in the ring. And then you've got Fraser Clarke and TKV going head to head. I was actually there at the launch press start earlier on this week, and I could see that there was no animosity between both men. It was literally like they know what's at stake and they both really want it. And they're prepared to come in at their best because they want that British heavyweight title. And this will also be the first fight being streamed on BBC, BBC Two and iPlayer, which is also exciting. I'm excited to see how that rolls out. It was also mentioned that there's this really big game-changing sponsorship. So I'm reading here from The Ring, and it says that Riyadh Season has agreed to a game-changing sponsorship with promotional outfit Boxer. The deal promises to support the new era of UK fight nights and deliver big events to millions of British fight fans, which is exciting. I mean, as a British fight fan, this is exciting. I am intrigued to see what these events will bring, the cards that will be on these big events. And when they say like support the new era of UK fight nights, like what does that entail? This is all that am excited to see. And I do hope that this does include like up and coming boxers also who are coming up from the amateurs, because they deserve the spotlight too. So this does sound good. And the fact that they're calling this game changing, let's see it. What do you mean game changing? Let's see it. On top of that, I do also want to mention that Dana White has come out and he has introduced Zuffa Boxing, and he's bringing kind of like the MMA style to Zuffa Boxing, and he has said that they're not going to be recognizing any of the sanctioning bodies, and they're going to be bringing their own belt, the Zuffa belt. Which I did find quite interesting was that the president of the WBC had put out like a welcoming letter, kind of responding to that also. Well, he did say yesterday Dana White made a podcast in which he stated the plans for boxing. So it is like a response. And he gives them a welcome. And he does say that boxing is regulated worldwide by national federations and or state boxing commissions, which have a structure to operate, having boxers safe at the top priority. Boxing regulators exist to also protect boxers and make sure that no conflict of interest get in the way of justice and fairness. And, he goes on, and I just thought it was really interesting that Dana White has this approach where he kind of wants to create his own system and his own ecosystem, and have his own belt, which I don't know how it will land, to be honest. I mean, I'm not a boxer, I'm just a fan. But for me, as a spectator and as somebody who's actually spoken to some boxers, so when I interviewed Sean Porter, he did speak to me, and he did actually tell me how the WBC are really big and heavy on their history, and how they're so proud of their history too, and they hold these conventions to educate people on their history of the WBC and of boxing. And so, like, as a boxer looking as a spectator in to boxers, they do want, like, boxers would love to have that WBC belt. It is a prestigious belt and it is something that you would want. And I did see an interview by Eddie Hearn, and he was saying the same thing, that like boxers want that WBC belt. It is prestigious, it is something desirable, and it is something that you do go after as a boxer. So to say you're going to scrap that, bring in something new, I don't know. It'll be interesting to see how that plays out. And these sanctioning bodies have been around for a very long time, for a very, very long time. These belts have been around for a very long time, and they do hold history. Like, some of the greats and some of the legends held these belts. And also, when you're up and coming, you also, when you're talking about like legacy, you do want to have these belts too, just because of who's come before you and who have had these belts. So it'll be interesting to see how that plays out. We'll see. But you guys, I'm always interested to hear from you guys also. So let me know in the comments your thoughts on this. And that's all for this week. But do follow me on Instagram and on TikTok, Boxing with Steph. And I'm going to see you guys next week, Sunday. And there's going to be, I'm sure, a lot more to talk about. All the best. And I'll speak to you guys then.